What's up, DBs? Coach D Magic here, former D1 defensive back at the University of Hawaii. Now, you usually don't hear me say University of Hawaii. The reason why I'm going to say the school today is because we're going to go over some press man reps, when to shoot hands, or when to shoot two hands, when to shoot one hand. Jair Alexander gets beat on a fade by my former roommate at the University of Hawaii, Keith Kirkwood. Shout out to Keith Kirkwood. Keep doing your thing. I'm super proud of you, all right? Like I said, we're going to go over one hand versus two hand jams, all right? Because if you shoot two hands and you miss, okay, it could spell disaster, all right? So we're going to go over the coaching points on how I would teach, how I was taught two hands versus an offhand, one hand jam, okay? So let's go over this one first because we're going to go over the good example and hopefully the other examples will make more sense, okay? So I was taught if the receiver is within your frame on the release, we can shoot two hands, okay? What does in the frame look like, all right? Now, it could be inside your shoulder width, inside your elbow width, okay? You see how the receiver is in front of us here, okay? He's directly in front of us. He's still square to us. This is a good opportunity to shoot two hands, okay? Now, when you shoot two hands, make sure you're not lunging. We want to go from 2 to 1, 2 to 1. All right, he's unable to get to 1, but he's going 2 to none. But I just want you guys to see what I mean by inside of our frame, okay? He's going to go with watch his outside foot. He's going to go with the step, kick, and we're shooting two hands as we kick step, all right? So we have to activate our kick step as we shoot two. If all we do is step and punch with no kick step, our hips are going to be locked. Because you see how he's swimming here? All right. If we shot hands without a kick step, he would beat us here. But again, because we are kick stepping with our hands, we're able to stay on top of the release here. Now, once the receiver, all right, 5, 10, 15 yards. All right, he's past that 15-yard mark. It's not a stop route. It's not a comeback. Now we can look and lean on the receiver. Okay. Good rep here. Now we're going to go to this rep. Okay. We're going to go to this rep. So we had a good rep. This is an okay rep, and then we're gonna go with the bad rep because we lose. Okay, when it comes to Jair Alexander. So you saw how in the beginning, the first rep, the receiver was within our frame. Now I would consider this outside of our frame because look, you see how the receiver's inside shoulder is outside of our outside shoulder. He's not as square to us as he was. He's square now. So if we shoot hands with him here, cool. But as he releases, notice how he's now outside of our frame. So when we shoot two hands, okay, and I don't think this is the best kick step. We shoot two hands. Now look, when he knocks that outside arm down, because we didn't kick step and because he's outside of our frame, okay, we don't have, we're no longer keeping our body in front of the receiver, and now he's in front of us. Now he stacked us, okay? So again, outside of our frame. Outside of our frame. We don't kick step. Outside of our frame. All right. And we get lucky because he runs right back into us. We're able to get our hands on the football here. All right. Good finish. There's always something to get better on, but at least, we're learning from a win and not a catch. All right. So now we go back to Jair Alexander. All right. We do a good job, and we're actually outside leverage here. Okay. We take that step, right? Now look again. I like the kick step, but look where the receiver's shoulder is after we kick step. After we kick step, look where his shoulder is. His shoulder is outside of our frame. He's outside of our shoulder, okay? So when we get hands on, we don't really have a surface to jam. We're pretty much trying to jam his arm, all right? That's all we have because his chest is away from us. His chest is not in front of us. So when we go to jam, receiver knocks it down. All right, good job, though. The reason why we're not stacked like this first guy, all right, watch the first guy, Jalen Smith, rookie. There's no kick step here. There's a step, okay? I guess this is a small kick step, but not enough, all right? So that when we throw our two hands, we have to, as we're crossing over, right? You don't want to be throwing hands and crossing over. There's no kick step to keep us in front just in case we don't land. Now on Jair's case, step, we do a good job of kicking. Now we're still in front, right? Now we're still on top. But again, the receiver's shoulder, his chest is facing this way. He's no longer square to us. So I think this is an offhand jam. But like I said, because we do that kick step when we're still on top, when he knocks that arm down, we're still in position, right? We're still in good position. I would just be done with our hands here, all right, and look to play with our eyes and our feet and our body. But we go with another two-hand jam. We try to grab and look. Eventually, he's going to get on top. A good quarterback's going to put that ball right over the shoulder, right? And we're still in good position, okay? So, again, guys, you got to be careful with these two-hand jams, all right? You got to know when the receiver's within our frame, okay? When the receiver's within our frame. All right, he's still within our frame. He's still square to us. We can go two if you're taught that, okay? We got to understand that we got to kick step. If there's no kick step, all right, our feet are gonna be out. Our hands are gonna be outside of our feet. All right, the kick step's gonna allow us to stay on top, stay in front. Not enough kick step for me. Two hands knocks it down. Now look at us. Now look at us. This is not a position we want to be in where we're facing this way. He's facing this way. I think we get bailed out by the route here. If this is a go route, I think he stacks us and it's a touchdown. Well, no guarantee that it's a touchdown, but he's definitely going to be able to stack us vertically. And then in Jair's case, all right, we do a good job of kick stepping. All right. I just think that we should go with an offhand jam. Offhand meaning if he's working to our right, we should be throwing our left. If he's working to our left, we should be throwing our right. Okay. And we get too handsy after he knocks it down. Too handsy after he knocks it down. And he stacks us. Good job again, Keith Kirkwood, my former roommate. All right. So if you guys want the offhand jam versus two-hand jam drills, make sure you go to thedbnetwork.com. We have it all in there. I know some coaches don't like to teach the two-hand jam because it locks your hips. I completely understand. But if you're going to go with two hands, there's a method to the madness inside of our frame. Make sure we kick step two-hand to one-hand punch. And if you guys want me to do a breakdown of any player or of anything you've seen, make sure you drop a comment in the comment section. And again, also I want to know what you guys are teaching. If you're a coach, if you're a player, how are you being taught two hands versus one hand? All right. So that I can learn from you guys because I'm always learning as well. All right. Again, make sure you go to thedbnetwork.com.